Hi guys, Dr. Rob Barrington here with some more nutrition advice. I'd like to talk today about fructose and alcohol and why they have very similar effects on the body and why they can both damage the liver if taken in excess in the diet. Now, most people are aware that alcohol is damaging to the liver. One of the problems with excessive alcohol consumption for those people who are alcoholics is that they can develop cirrhosis of the liver, which eventually leads to death. Now, the reason this occurs is because when alcohol is taken in excess, the ethanol within the alcohol is converted in the liver to fatty acids. And those fatty acids, some of them accumulate in the liver. And this causes metabolic dysfunction in the liver, and the fatty acids lead to something called alcoholic fatty liver, which eventually leads to cirrhosis of the liver, and this causes the liver to stop functioning, and this will lead to death. This is quite commonly known in medical circles. Generally, people understand that liver is a detoxification organ as well as its other roles, and therefore one of the things it has to cope with when alcohol is consumed in excess is the removal of that alcohol from the body. This puts a stress on the liver, and the liver has to also deal with the energy in the alcohol. Hence, much of the ethanol is converted into fatty acids. This is no real secret. People understand this, but what people don't understand is that fructose is a molecule that, when ingested, has a very similar effect on the liver. Now, fructose is probably not commonly known to most people. It's a simple sugar. Most people will, however, have heard of sucrose. Sucrose is table sugar. It's the common sugar that's added to your tea. It's the type of sugar you can buy in bags from the supermarket. And sucrose is made up of a molecule of fructose chemically bonded through a glycosidic bond to a molecule of glucose. When that sucrose is ingested, it is split into its fructose and glucose moieties, and this occurs through the enzyme sucrase. The glucose then passes into your blood, which contributes to blood sugar, and the fructose passes to the liver. Now, fructose is an interesting molecule because only the liver can process fructose. Glucose is happy to pass into the cells. It will raise your blood sugar levels, and the blood insulin will be released, and the glucose will then pass into your skeletal muscle cells or your fat cells, and this will lower blood sugar levels. But fructose is a unique molecule because, like ethanol, it is only processed by the liver. Now, what we find, and what the nutritional literature is showing, is that those people who ingest a lot of fructose start to damage their livers. They start to develop not alcoholic fatty liver, as you get with ethanol ingestion. They start to develop non-alcoholic fatty liver. And increasingly, science is showing that high consumption of fructose, which includes table sugar, is causing this non-alcoholic fatty liver. Now, this disease wasn't even recognised. If we go back to 2 decades ago, there wasn't really any recognition that this disease existed, and it's being found that many people now have this problem. Fructose is in much too high a concentration in many of the foods that we ingest, and it is in too many foods. Sucrose is added to many processed foods, and people's consumption of fructose is too high. Now, fructose is also found in fruit, and it's also found in honey. The difference between the fructose that's found in fruit and the fructose that's found in honey, and the fructose that maybe is added to soft drinks as sucrose, is that fruit contains fibre, and therefore the amount of fructose you can ingest from that fruit is quite small compared with the amount you can ingest from soft drinks, for example. And honey is protected by bees. So historically, we've not really had, as humans, access to large amounts of fructose without having to also ingest large amounts of fibre and without having to fight off very aggressive bees. So the addition of fructose to the diet is a fairly new phenomenon, and the use of sucrose, the use of other fructose-containing molecules like high fructose corn syrup, and their addition into foods devoid of fibre is causing the diet to contain too much fructose. people are ingesting too much fructose and the liver is unable to cope with this fructose, and the result of this is that people are developing non-alcoholic fatty liver. Now, my recommendation is that you limit all fructose molecules in your food, except those that are found in fruit. And I don't advocate avoiding honey. Obviously, everything should be eaten in moderation. Honey is a very healthy food. But again, because there's no fibre in honey, it should be eaten in moderation. But fruit containing fibre is fine. You can eat fruit. But those foods that contain fructose without any fibre, we're talking about soft drinks, we're talking about cakes, we're talking about biscuits, we're talking about all the processed foods people know they shouldn't be eating. They're not. They have no part in a high quality healthy diet. Those molecules are contributing to non-alcoholic fatty liver, which is causing insulin resistance in people, and this is a driver of weight gain. It's now suspected that obesity and weight gain, the epidemic of obesity and weight gain that we're seeing in Western nations, is caused by fructose. Animal models show that if you give them fructose in their diet, which is not accompanied by fibre, this causes obesity in the animals in a very short period of time. The insulin resistance can develop within a number of weeks. So you should be avoiding all of these processed foods containing fructose. You should be consuming fruit anyway as part of your diet, and you should be limiting your intake of things like honey that are devoid of fibre but may be healthy foods. One more thing to say on this subject is that when you take a piece of fruit and you remove its fibre and you take the molecules of sugar that are within that fruit and you put them in a drink, you are creating in essence a soft drink. There is no difference between drinking fruit juice from an apple and drinking a soft drink that has been manufactured in a factory. They are the same biochemically to the body. They have the same effects on the liver. They have the same biochemical effects in the body. Because fruit juices come from fruit, there is the perception that it's healthy. It is not. It is no more healthy than consuming soft drinks. So my recommendation is that you get your fruit juice from your whole fruit and you limit your intake of processed foods containing fructose if you wish to maintain a healthy liver.